Imagine waking up one day to find that starting a humble local business, like a cozy cafe or a repair shop, suddenly requires you to flash a fancy degree or jump through hoops of specialized training. That's the jaw-dropping barrier facing aspiring entrepreneurs in the British Virgin Islands today, and it's got opposition leader Myron Walwyn fuming. But here's where it gets controversial. Walwyn has publicly blasted the Department of Trade's rumored policy, which seems to demand formal academic credentials or expert certifications before granting licenses for certain trades. He labels it outright ridiculous and warns that it could cripple the spirit of innovation and self-reliance that fuels the local economy. For beginners dipping their toes into entrepreneurship, think of it this way. Not everyone needs a diploma to brew a great cup of coffee or fix a leaky faucet. What truly counts, Walwyn argues, is that raw passion and smart judgment to assemble a talented team that gets the job done right. Diving deeper, at a recent press briefing, the opposition leader explained that this new rule would throw up unnecessary roadblocks for small-scale operators, potentially slowing down economic progress across the islands. It's like telling passionate cooks they can't open a food truck unless they've studied gourmet cuisine in Paris, he might say in a hypothetical example, emphasizing how such barriers ignore the real-world grit that builds businesses from the ground up. Walwyn doesn't hold back in accusing the current administration of being completely disconnected from everyday Virgin Islanders. Instead of cheering on dreamers and doers, he claims they're throwing wet blankets on entrepreneurial flames. This feels like a deliberate plot to snuff out ambition rather than fan it into a roaring fire, he passionately declared. And this is the part most people miss. He ties this isolated policy to a larger pattern of ineffective economic stewardship, where small enterprises are left gasping for air amid scarce funding options and sporadic, reactive aid, like those scant grants only handed out after relentless opposition pressure. To put it simply for newcomers to these debates, he's saying this isn't a proactive strategy. It's more like putting out fires after they've started, rather than installing smoke detectors in the first place. Meanwhile, Walwyn paints a stark picture of missed opportunities, pointing out how nearby Caribbean neighbors are sprinting ahead with ambitious tourism ventures and investment magnets that create jobs and buzz. While they're zooming forward with bold plans to build thriving economies, we're stuck in neutral, lacking clear direction and tangible wins, he lamented, urging a wake-up call for the BVI. Adding fuel to the fire, numerous local business owners have voiced their exasperation in recent weeks, complaining about drawn-out license waits and murky application guidelines that feel like navigating a maze blindfolded. Reports from BVI News have spotlighted how these bureaucratic hurdles, ramped up under fresh regulations, are turning what should be straightforward processes into exhausting ordeals. Think endless paperwork and vague standards that leave entrepreneurs scratching their heads. The Department of Trade hasn't yet spilled the beans on the exact nuts and bolts of their official stance, but Walwyn's fiery critique is sparking louder demands for a thorough policy overhaul. The goal? To pave smoother paths for residents to launch and nurture businesses without leaving talent on the sidelines. Now, here's a thought that might ruffle some feathers. Is this degree requirement a smart safeguard ensuring high-quality work, or is it an elitist gatekeeping move that shuts out everyday innovators? On one hand, some might argue it protects consumers from subpar services, preventing disasters like faulty plumbing that could flood homes. But on the flip side, does it unfairly sideline self-taught geniuses who've built empires without textbooks? What do you think? Should governments prioritize formal education and licensing? Or is this a recipe for stifling the very creativity that drives economies? Do you agree with Walwyn's stance, or see merit in stricter standards? We'd love to hear your take. Drop a comment below, and let's get the conversation flowing.